Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I have a lot to talk about, doing kind of the wrap up. Going to be talking about my TBR, announcing some buddy reads, looking at some cool stuff that was sent to me. So I'm going to try and go pretty quick because there's a lot going on in this one. The first thing I do want to talk about is, as of the day this video comes out and for the next day and a half or so, you can still sign up in the Wizardly Duo Discord for our kind of not quite Christmas, not even Christmas in July, Christmas in June, but we're doing a book exchange. So it's pretty fun. It's easy to sign up. You use an Amazon wish list so that you don't have to share any address information. But it's called the Wiser event, or Wizards initiating the swapping of exciting reads. And so it's just kind of a fun thing we decided to do. We have had a lot of people show up to sign up for it. The more the merrier. It's just kind of a fun thing to do. So if you want to gift the book and also receive a book, definitely check out the Discord. Link, as always, down below. I did want to mention that right off the bat. You do have until June 2nd to sign up, so still a couple of days left. We've been talking about it quite a lot in the Discord. I wanted to make sure I mentioned it before, or John, one of our admins, will kill me for not talking about it in the video. So, haha, I mentioned it. So next up, some really cool things that I do want to mention. And the first thing is probably the most odd, but it's not a book that somebody sent me. In some ways, it's better, but I have some Planters peanut butter here, and this came of, we were talking about peanut butter on the Discord, and the conversation came up, and I mentioned how much I love Planters peanut butter, but it's not available in the US anymore. So a viewer from Canada actually got me some of this, and their local stores didn't have it. They ended up finding it on Amazon and then having to ship it to me because Amazon would not ship it to me themselves. So sent me a couple of jars of Planters peanut butter, which is the best. If you're in Canada or a country that has this, try it because it's delicious. If you're not, I'm sorry. I'm not sharing because it's delicious and I haven't had it in a long time. So that was the first thing I want to mention, was the peanut butter. And then the next thing actually should have been in my last book haul video, but I immediately put it on my shelf, and so I'd completely forgotten to include it. That is The Stone of Farewell by Tad Williams, The Stone of Farewell, which is book 2 in Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, which, hint, hint, may be included in some of the information that's going to be talked about for buddy reads coming up here. But my good friend Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads actually sent that to me, and so I wanted to very much thank him for that because it is definitely something I am looking very much forward to reading. And then something that definitely wasn't necessarily planned, but apparently I'm going to have to bump up because I'm pretty excited with this. But I never won anything. I won a contest on Jolien Reads, and I'll link her channel down below, somehow, even though I never won anything, and got all 3 books of The Unhewn Throne, which starts with Emperor's Blades by Brian Staveley. So that was pretty awesome. I actually got 3 of these she sent me for winning that contest. So it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. I was not expecting to actually win anything. Like I said, I'm just incredibly unlucky for the most part. So it was pretty cool to have. So let's get into now next to kind of wrap up the announcement section of this video, buddy reads, because we have a lot of buddy reads going on in the Wizardly Duo Discord for the rest of the year. Actually, we're planned pretty far ahead, and most of it just happens because we all talk about wanting to read something, and then it goes from there. So you still have time. Like I said, this is right at the end of May, but for June we are doing Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. A lot of us wanted to read this, and so we decided it like a lot of them do, it kind of started as not being an official buddy read, but then kind of became an official buddy read. So Jurassic Park for June we are reading, and then I don't actually have a copy of it. I have it on my Kindle, but I will put it up here. We are doing in July The Sword of Kaigan, although it sounds like some people started it early already and are really excited. So I don't know how many of us will actually still be reading it, but if you want to wait till July, it is going to be our official buddy read for them. Then what we're going to be doing for August, September, and October and November is Memory, Sorrow, Thorn. I only have the first 2 so far. I have a few months to get the third. But we're going to be doing that's the wrong book. We're going to be doing the Dragonbone chair. Let me get that focused. Dragonbone chair in August, the Stone of Farewell in September, and then, because in case you weren't aware, the last book to the Green Angel Tower is gigantic. It's like 1,500 pages at this size. So we're allotting 2 months for that. So that will be both October and November, to kind of split it up, make it a little bit easier for people to participate. But if that's not enough, and this is, I think, technically still unofficial, but the other day in a video, Andrew brought up reading Priory of the Orange Tree, which, what a beautiful cover, which is another, like, gigantic book. And so it sounds like now lots of people are also going to be reading this in August, so this is like our unofficial, official buddy read. Like I said, we tend to do that a lot, where we start buddy reads just because everybody is interested in reading something, so why not? That's a good way to start a buddy read. So those are the buddy reads. So thanks again to Stacey for the peanut butter, again to Andrew for the Stone of Farewell, and Jolien for the Unhewn Throne books. Also, thank all of you who are subscribed, because recently I hit 300 subscribers, which I'm still surprised about. I do plan on filming some more fun kind of skit type videos, just as added celebration, but not doing anything big at this point, since I just did something for 250. This seems too soon, but still, I never really thought I would be at 300 subscribers. That's a lot of subscribers, and it's pretty exciting. So thank all of you for that. Now, we've talked about a lot already. We haven't even gotten into the wrap-up yet. So let's start talking about my May reads and what all I read in the month of May. So first of all, I finished The Liar's Key, because I was a liar when I said I was going to finish this in April. It took a few days into May for me to finish it, but it worked out pretty well, and I did finally get that done. I'd been doing one of those a month for the last few months, and it'd been the last book I was reading in any particular month, so it took a little bit longer for me to get to those. But May was actually a really good month for me reading, and I worked on getting caught up a little bit on some other things. So after I read that, the very first thing I read, because I wanted to make sure I finally am getting this ready to get finished, was Keeper of the Keys, the second book of Cycle of Fire. And I read that, and it's a shorter read, so it didn't take a ton of time, but I wanted to make sure to get to it, because that's been one. Guys, this book, I started it forever ago. It's a trilogy, and I gotta move the peanut butter. I'm gonna need room for books. It's a trilogy, and I liked the first book, but I just hadn't gotten around to reading the second book, so I finally did it, and then we'll talk about finishing it later. And then next up, I read The Ruin of Kings, and this was actually my BookTube spin pick, specifically to read this month or next month, but I was always planning on doing it the first month. And this book was something that I was really conflicted on. I'd heard a lot of mixed things, and I do have reviews for all three of these books for it, but this was really different. Really liked the story, but just an odd storytelling device, and the way the narrative kind of worked. It was just strange, and I kind of never got over it. It wasn't awful, but it just was weird. And if you do want to hear more about that, definitely check out my review for that as well. Keeping the train rolling, so I set a pretty good TBR for May. The next thing I read was Moving Pictures, which is, I think, the 10th Discworld novel. And so I've been working on completing these, making sure that I get them all fit in. So that definitely was something that I wanted to get in as well. And it's a nice breakup. I figured if I really ended up hating Ruin of Kings, I'd read Discworld. I didn't hate Ruin of Kings, but Moving Pictures is all kinds of like old school Hollywood jokes and kind of just parodying the whole idea of Hollywood. It was a fun one. I have a review out for that as well. Then we got to the big boy. We got to Ship of Destiny. And my review for this one will be coming out eventually. It's going to be a little bit later yet. But this book, oh my gosh, this book was so good. I still like Farseer Trilogy more overall than the Life Ship Traders trilogy, but this is my new favorite Hob book. And I didn't think I'd be able to say that because Royal Assassin was my favorite before, and I really loved Assassin's Quest as well. But This book just did so many things so well. It was a great wrap-up, a great look at what's going to be happening in some of the future Realm of the Elderling books. I am very excited. Very excited. After that one, I did end up reading Stardust, which I didn't like. There'll be a review out on this one here soon, too. But this is a really short one. I've been trying to read more Gammon. This one was definitely a miss for me, but I'll talk more about that in the review, so watch out for that if you are interested in that as well. So a few other things to note. I did read, I had started it, and I finally finished Dark One by Brandon Sanderson, which I also wasn't a huge fan of, and I'm not doing a review for that one because it's a graphic novel, and I didn't have enough thoughts on it to put a video together for it, so I won't be, but it was okay. I don't really like graphic novels, to be completely fair. I didn't even really care for the White Sand ones, which were Cosmere, so it wasn't for me, but I did get that read. I did that through because it was technically an e-arc from NetGalley, but it was also like out. It just was a limited release, but that's where I read it on. Then I also read the Jasmine Throne, which I'll be doing a review on as well. That should be out here really soon. And that was a really interesting book that I haven't fully actually recorded a review for that one yet, so I haven't really formulated all of my thoughts, but it's an India-inspired fantasy story. Got a lot of politics, interesting magic, and really, really rich world that was being built out. So that one I'm excited to get the review recorded for as well. But it was a busy month. Even with that book was not planned. I got approved for that last second after I'd made my TBR, and it was almost 500 pages. So I thought I was going to be really suffering with my TBR, but so far I'm doing pretty good. I am still reading The Wheel of Ashaim right now. I'm recording this on the 30th, though. Wait, no, I'm recording this on the 29th, I think. What's today? It's the 20. It's the 29th, so I have the rest of today, and then I actually have still 2 more days to still finish it in May. So it should absolutely be done. I've got like 250 pages left. It's a smaller paperback, so I should have it finished. But that's why I don't have it in here with me, because I was reading it earlier. But that one also was reading. So the final note on things I read in May is, okay, guys, I said in my May TBR that I was going to read Revealing Eden Save the Pearls by Victoria Foyt, my punishment book. Now, I tried. I read several chapters. I got like maybe 50 pages in, something like that. And it was really, really awful. And I was complaining about it a lot in the Discord, as you do when you're reading something very awful. And talked to people in the Discord, and everybody actually agreed they were okay to let me out of this one because they felt I had suffered enough with what I had to read when I shared some passages with them. So, I mean, just don't read that book. It's awful. Even for a punishment, it just felt mean-spirited. It was, not only was the book just terrible, but there was a lot of, like, really offensive subject matter in it as well. And it was just written so poorly. It was just, ugh. Ugh. Anyway, that is all of the things that I read in May at that point. So, we're going to see if we can fit the TBR in here too, and I'm going to try to be quick with this, and we'll see if I end up splitting it up. It'll make it interesting for the ending of the videos. But those are all the things that I read in May. I actually had to take notes. I had so much stuff to talk about in this video. If you see me glancing over, that is going to be why. But let's talk about the things that I am planning on reading in the month of June. So, I've already actually mentioned a couple of things I feel like that are going to be going on, but the big thing is June is the month I want to get caught up and work on finishing or continuing some series. Had a lot going on with Buddy Reads, Lifeship Traders specifically. When you have a 900-page book every month, it takes a chunk of your time. So, I did mention, of course, in June, the Buddy Read is Jurassic Park, so I will be reading Jurassic Park, which is not continuing a series, but everything else is actually working on that. The first being, like I was talking about earlier, I really, really need to finally finish the Cycle of Fire trilogy. So I will be reading the third and final book, Shadowfane, of Cycle of Fire in June as well. This I didn't talk about much when I was talking about reading before, but is a really interesting take on kind of classic fantasy story. It starts out very classic fantasy. I mean, it has that classic fantasy type cover, which I love this cover so much. But it's got some twists. It goes in some very different ways and took an interesting approach. And Janie Wirtz is an author I've been meaning to try out more of. I've been really interested to start reading her stuff more. She's got a really long series I also want to get to, but I'm telling myself no because I don't need any more long series right now. But that's a big thing I do really want to get caught up on is finishing that. So that'll be the third and final book of that trilogy. That will get that one done. And then, very excitingly, I'm finally just said I'm doing it. I'm going to be reading Ruin and Wrath. Ruin and Wrath. I'm pretty excited for this. You know, oh, this is the hammer. Everything's backwards. I don't know. Ruin and Wrath, book 2 and 3 of The Faithful and the Fallen, and man, has this been a long time coming. I read Malice and Valor earlier this year, and Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads told me that I should read these back to back, if at all possible, or I was probably going to be really upset if I didn't, because of the way Ruin ends. And so I wanted to make sure I picked a month where I had time. So like I said, June is the catch up on things that I'm working continuing. So that'll be great to finish that series as well, because there's still even a trilogy or more books in the next series that also takes place in the Banished Lands and need to get to at some point. So it'll be good to have that one. I've been really excited to finish it. I liked book 1 and I really liked book 2, and so I'm hoping that I love books 3 and 4. Excited to get to them. And then it's been way too long. Another continuing series I've been putting off for a while because it's a big one. But Child of Flame by Kate Elliott. This is the 4th book in Crown of Stars. It's got some heft to it. Very much this is slow burn type fantasy. It's long. It takes a bit of time. And so with all of the Robin Hobb I was reading, I didn't want to get too much slow burn in. So I'd been waiting to read it. But I can't wait any longer. I got to keep going. I've been loving Crown of Stars. Books 1, 2, and 3 were all really good. 2's been my favorite so far. It was so good. But I'm really excited because the way that book 3 ended, oh man, I want to see what's going to happen. And it's crazy that I still have 3 more books after this one. But I'm excited. This is the middle point. So it's also pretty long. So I'm hoping that there's no like middle slump because book 4, I guess, is technically the middle book in a 7-book series. So I'm hoping to have it really good, but I'm very excited to get that read. So those are the big things that I'm planning. And then I just read the 10th Discworld novel. So I'm also planning at some point to throw in number 11, which is Reaper Man. The only death book I've had so far is Mort, so excited to get back to a death book. Plus, me and Drew from Drew's Book Reviews seem to be reading the Discworld books at the same time. He's doing one a month, and just happens to have been reading be right about the same spot I have been. So I've been doing mostly at least one a month. So Reaper Man will be coming as well. Just as kind of, I like to have a Discworld book in there to just throw in if I want a little bit of a break for a few days, read something that's just more of a palate cleanser. I've really enjoyed doing that thus far. So those are my June items. It's a little bit less books than I had on my May TBR, but also because they're quite long books. A lot of page count going in. But I've got Faithful and the Fallen very, very fast paced, even though Child of Flame will be more slow paced. So I think I've got a nice variety here. I'm excited to get to all of them. So, I know this has been a lot, and we'll see if this is 2 videos or 1, depending on how long exactly it's been. But if you want to see any of the reviews for the books that I talked about that I read in May, most of them are already out. You could check the channel for. The others will be coming, so if you want to see those, make sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. And of course, check the link down in the description for the Discord if you want to get in on the book exchange, on any of these buddy reads, or just chat and talk more about books. But that is the end of this one. Roll in credits.